Yep. Good evening, everyone. So, last session we learned about all data types models, data models. So, we discussed about database models. So, what are the models we are having? Conceptual, physical, logical, and entity, right? So, what is conceptual model? Conceptual model comprises of information about the modules that need data, right? That means it contains the name of the modules that need data. And what physical model contains? Table name, field names, and their data types. For every module, what data is required? That is decided in physical. And what is logical? Relationship, finding and setting the relation between the data. Entity, entity is the final business model where we configure the table, fields, data type, and relationship. Relationships, what are those? How they work, I will show you. Once we start working, we can do that. So now, once you know the configuration, how it works, so you need to understand. After understanding the database models, so now we will start working with the database. And we are going to learn MySQL as database. So MySQL database, we are going to start working with this MySQL database. So already we discussed that databases are different types and different categories of databases are there. So MySQL comes under which category? Relational, right? So we also have databases categorized into different. As I showed you already, some are structured, some are semi-structured, and some are structureless. That means data in database can be maintained in a structured way, semi-structured way, and completely structureless. So structured way is MySQL, Oracle, all these are structured. And semi-structured means like MongoDB is and semi-structured. Completely structureless means we have like CSV, comma separated, some databases are there. Data type is there. So SQL, MySQL it is an free, it is open source, it is cross-platform, and it is structured. What is structureless and what is structured, what is semi-structured, I will tell you. Actually, for example, suppose you are dealing with some data. We are maintaining some users information. Users. In this user information, so we have user 1, user 2, user 3, some details. All three users information we want to maintain in one location. Generally, what we can do, we can create one table. In this table, for first user, we kept three details. And for second user, So for second user, it is having 4 details. That means it is having 4 details. For first user, it is having only 3. And for third user, it is having only 2 details. That means 2 details are maintained for a third user. Like this we have. So if data can be maintained like this, then it is called semi-structured. It is semi-structured. And this is not possible in MySQL. It will not support. It will not support. That means you are storing for users information. For first user, 4 fields. For second user, 2 fields. For third user, 5 fields. Can we maintain data like that? It's not possible. For all users, 5 fields. If any one field is not filled by that user, then it will be set as null, empty. But it should have that field. This is structured. So databases can be structureless, semi-structured. This is semi-structured. Some data can be completely structureless. That means even field name also different. In one table, one field, another one row, one field, another row, another field. So technically MySQL is completely structured. This kind of data we cannot maintain in MySQL. It is possible in your MongoDB. Later you will learn. So you are going to learn one structured and you are going to learn one semi-structured and structureless database. In semi-structured itself, you can maintain structureless also. So MySQL is an open source. It is a cross-platform and it is free and it is structured. Data is structured. We cannot have structureless data here. Some data can be structureless, but it is completely structured. And it is SQL based. We discussed that databases without SQL and with SQL can be there. It is SQL based. That means it needs one language for communication. And what is that language? SQL. You call SQL or SQL, anything is okay. That means people pronounced it as SQL. So, or people pronounce that as SQL. Anything is okay. No problem. That means either you call SQL or SQL, anything. Now, how this works, what it contains, what are the concepts for this? Let's see one by one those options. So, first important about MySQL is actually, so it is free, open source, and cross-platform database. It is free, open source, and cross-platform database. So it is structured. It is structured. So that means you technically we call it as schema based. Schema less means structureless. Schema based means structured. So it is relational database. It is relational database. So we will learn more about these relational concepts in next levels we are going to see. Another point, it is SQL database. It is SQL database. So the key points, it is open source free and it is structured, it is relational. Another one, it is an SQL based, SQL database. Actually, MySQL officially, this is MySQL official downloads is there, but we'll directly go to this. Yeah. This is MySQL official reference. Actually, it is not downloads direct. This is the official. It is maintained by the same Oracle. Oracle maintains this MySQL also. And you can see when you see the main uh, website of MySQL, you can see they are providing some services, like it is having so many services. You see in the downloads, you can see there are some options. It provides community server. It provides an NDB cluster. It provides shell and a router and a workbench. That means there are several tools provided by this. These days, databases are providing so many tools combination. What a database contains, I will tell you. These are all different tools provided. In this, you need to set up the community server and you need to set up this workbench. We need these two tools. So it comes with so many. MySQL provides so many things. We will see that. So first point is, what is meant by SQL database? What is the concept of SQL database? Detailedly, I will tell you. Separate SQL language concept we will learn here. So it provides services like, one is, it is a community server. Another one is cluster, NDB cluster. It provides router, shell router workbench. It provides services like community server, NDB cluster, shell router workbench. In this, few we can learn. Others are not our part because you need to spend more in-depth time about that to learn them, and that is for networking based people, administrations and all. So MySQL provides all these. MySQL is providing services like community server and all. Just one point, community server is responsible for maintaining database for you. For any application, if you want some database, then community server will maintain database for you. The community server is the location where you can keep the data. Data is kept there, data is maintained there, and you can connect from any application to the community server and you can access and use the data. So data is kept and maintained in its community server. Community server will do that. That's what community server. You see, this is the community server. And how it works, what it is, I will tell you. We will detailedly discuss about that. But this is the community server. And community server, actually, it is responsible for maintaining the data for you. Data. You have an NDB cluster. You see, this is an NDB cluster. NDB cluster. Actually, NDB cluster have so many things. Just I will show you one point here. So NDB cluster is nothing but it is for maintenance of database. And means I told you now, database administrations will be there. DBA. I told you tier architecture and layer architecture. Na? What happens in tier? Application runs in tiers, and layers, application is built in layers. So availability, high redundancy, distributed computing environment, networks, all these you can configure by using this. Actually, it is used for production environments. It is used for production environment. So this we are not going to learn. That means we are not going to learn this. NDB cluster is for that. Shell is, we use shells also. Shell is nothing but it will provide a command line tool, just like your CLI. You have terminal in Visual Studio Code. There you have a PowerShell, right? PowerShell. So similarly, here also it will have a command line environment where we have to work with the database. That means no graphical interface. Everything is command line. That is actually shell. They have a router. So usually routers later you will learn. So because the router is responsible for handling communication, APIs and all those things. Workbench is a GUI tool, graphical user interface. GUI tool is nothing but what this GUI tool will do is GUI tool provides a graphical interface. So without learning commands, you can manage your data. Actually, for creating table, for creating database, for creating, for writing different queries, you need to write commands. Without remembering any command, visually you can maintain the database. That means without any command, visually you can maintain the database. Visually maintaining the database means on the screen you will see buttons. Plus button, create database. Another button, it will create a table. Another button for modifying. Another button for deleting. That is graphical interface. So we will see that graphical interface also. That is called, they call that graphical interface as what? Workbench. Workbench provides a GUI, that is graphical user interface. Shell will provide an CLI. And this is router is used as a connector for connecting with API configurations and all. Actually, you have connectors. This is the connectors. These are used with various APIs across network to connect. These are all used. That is actually, they call that as what? Router. They call it as router. Router is also called as a connector. So it is used to connect application of different languages. So it can connect, it can maintain, and distributed architecture you will learn when you learn about Express.js. In Express.js, you learn about APIs. There you will see such concepts, how they work usually. So what is the main purpose here is actually community server manages data for your application. So NDB cluster is used for maintaining data. Maintaining data. So it includes performance, high availability, etc. So all these things will be there. Shell provides a command line tool. to interact with community data server, CLI, actually command line tool to interact with the data server. Router is used for connection in distributed architecture. What is distributed architecture? You will learn. Distributed architecture. And the workbench provides an GUI, provides an GUI to manage database. GUI is graphical user interface. It provides an GUI, graphical user interface. So graphical user interface. So these are various services provided by this, because these days databases provides more services. Not only this, they provide more services like analytics, business intelligence, reporting, so many are there. All databases will not have those kind of services. So some databases will provide all those other services also. Like I showed you, like Oracle, when I showed you, Oracle is not database. Database is one concept of Oracle. Oracle is an ERP. That means it has so many tools for different purpose, for different business requirements. They have different tools. So MySQL is providing all these for you. It is going to show all these for you. Right now in this, we have to learn how to set up MySQL on our computer, right? We have to learn how to set up this on our computer. Because it is available for all operating system services, you can download the suitable one for you. So let's see, set up environment for MySQL. How do we set up environment for MySQL? So in this, how to set up environment is, so we need two tools. We need two tools here. What are those? One community server, another one is workbench. In community server itself, shell operations can be done. Separately, you can download shell also, but not required, because we will learn the queries also, commands also, how to write from workbench only. Workbench provides both graphical as well as command line. Exclusively, separately, only command line you want, you can do that. You can use. What is advantage of that is it is lightweight. It is lightweight and it is faster in communication. And but there is no graphical interface. Everything you have to manage using commands. So we can use workbench and community server. You have to download two things, the workbench and community server. Let's see how we do that. So let's go to the official website here. In the downloads, you have a community server. This is the download. I will copy this official here. So first visit this location. mysql.com downloads in that MySQL. You have to visit this website. Here you can find all downloads related to MySQL. You have to visit that because actually it is an open source database. Sometimes you will find third-party sites for downloading them. That's not recommended. Always use the official because MySQL is some database which is even provided by third party. That means why third parties can provide is it is an open source. Open source means what? They can customize certain features according to their requirements. And sometimes what happens is for specific business requirements, they customize it and they provide that as MySQL. You can download it and you can use it, but you have limited functionalities or you have restricted functionalities to manage. So better always get it from here, right? And here, when you go here, you see GA releases are there. Always make sure that you use GA releases. GA is general availability. Actually, whenever a software is released, sometimes GA will not be there. Sometimes that means uh, when a software new version is being released, for developers, what they do, they give other versions. Generally, how a software is released, do you know? Means a software, how it is released. Release versions will be there. I will show you. Where we have this version release history will be there. I will show you the version release history. Version release histories, usually version release history will be like this. That means how software versions are released. A cycle will be there. This is the version release cycle actually. This is the version release cycle. This is the version release cycle. That is the version release cycle. Whenever any software is released, any technology, any software, this is the cycle. First, they release an alpha version. Alpha contains again several phases. Alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3. Pre-alpha, after that alpha, after that beta, after that RC. RC is release candidate. RC1, RC2, RC3. After that RTM, RTM 1, 2, 3. After that GA. Once any software is GA, that means it is ready to be used in projects. Before that, we don't attempt. Before that also they give download. So that is for developers to test and understand what new is coming, but it is not ready for projects. Projects always should use only GA. GA is general availability. Once it is GA, then we can start using it. If it is not GA, then it is not for project. It is for testing. That means before it is GA, when it is in RC, RTM, developers will download it. They will try it. They will check what's new features they added, what is coming, but they cannot use for their project. They can use, they will not use for their project. Why they will not use? Because it is incomplete. And while doing that test and all, if they got any issues, they can report them to the people who built it. They can correct those issues and they can release the perfect one. And once any software is GA, you can start using it. So you need to wait the best version available for using in project is what? GA, general availability. Before GA, RTM, RC, beta, alpha, pre-alpha. That is the cycle actually. So in any software here, you can see these versions regularly. So in any software, you can see these versions like regularly. Actually, this is the version. So it is GA now. And which version is GA? 9.2. Previous was 8 version was there. And it is in now LTS, long-term support. Long-term support means what? It is still available and it is supported by those people. If any version is not LTS, suppose you downloaded this one, that means which is not under support. If any technical issue comes, they are not responsible. If you download LTS, old version but LTS means long-term support, and any technical issue come, they will support. That means any technical issue comes, they will support. So if you are trying the old version, then always use that LTS version or the new version. 9.2 is the new version, and for which operating system you want, you need to set up for that. It is available for all. That means it is available for all operating systems. And people downloads the source code for customizing MySQL. That means this is an open source one. This is an open source one. Source code is for open source. People who want to customize the MySQL database according to their requirements, so they use this one. So if you want to just use what they given, you don't want any customization, then you can download others. Others are for people who don't want to customize and just use it. Source code is for the people who want to customize it. They want to modify that, right? That is not required for us. Our operating system is for Windows. So 64-bit 86 installer is there. You just download this installer. Installer is good because it is going to guide us step by step. That is the installer here. You have to download. You don't need to log in. It is not mandatory. You have to just open this installer and set up this installer. So login is not required. So you can just download this one. And when I open this, you can see the installer will start like this. This is setting up MySQL on your PC. And when I click on next, so accept the terms, here next, it is asking which one you want to install. Is it typical, custom, or complete? So you better just go with what? Typical. Complete is not required. Why? Because so all program features will be installed here. All program features means people who want administrations and everything related to database they want. We don't want all that. We want database only for database. Means for creating, managing data for application. All other maintenance related, networking related, we don't want those. Then we just go with what? Typical. So select this typical setup. And you go to the next one, install. Then it is going to install and it will give an installer for you also. So see, okay. Now once you complete this installing, now the second stage is very major. This is the location where you configure your system, entire database management system. And we should be careful in the second phase. Why? Because here you need to set the securities. Here you need to set the passwords. You need to set up the users, all the configuration. It will be in the second phase. Even anything you missed out in this second phase, you can again come back to that second phase and do the corrections. You can make the changes. You can correct that here. So now you have to run the configuration. run the configuration. So first here I will give better. So download MySQL installer for your operating system. After that, run the installer and choose so which one to choose. You have to run the installer and choose typical. Recommended features. To install the recommended features, you have to just use this typical. So after installing, you have to configure MySQL. You have to configure MySQL. After installing, you have to configure this MySQL. So here, how the configuration works. That means how the configuration is going to work. What is present inside the configuration? Let's see. So actually, it is already showing that your installation is completed. So, and you have to run MySQL configuration. No problem if you even by default, by mistake, you closed it. It is available in your programs and you can open it anytime you want and change your configuration. That means you configured, but you forgot what you configured sometimes, like passwords and all. You can come back and you can do that. You can go to this configuration anytime you want. So now run the configuration. And you can see the configuration tool comprises of so many things. So it will launch the configuration. It is launching. Yeah, it will launch the configuration like this. Here you have so many steps here to follow. And they are very important also. You need to configure this. So what you do is, so click on next button. And what you want to install. So perform an in-place upgrade of existing MySQL server. So it is server installation and yeah, is the screen available? Is it available to everyone? Is it clear? Just I reshared the screen. Yeah, okay, fine. Now you see it is asking here, do you want to perform an in-place upgrade? So it is configure the server instance as side-by-side installation. This is because already in my PC I have MySQL. It is asking these two because it is saying that multiple versioning is supported, side-by-side execution is possible. Side-by-side execution means 9 version and 8. The 9 version is very recent because for our previous batch just before you we have 8 version and for you it is now 9, right? Now it is asking this point because in my computer I have 2 versions. You don't worry, you will get only one option. What is that? Install. And if you already installed, it is asking these two things. Side by side means what? Side by side means it will keep the old version and it will install the new version. New version. So you can change the existing one also, right? Suppose here I am configuring. So the existing version I am selecting it. So and it is already there. So configure. Yeah. I will use the new version. Old one I will delete. Right. I will put the new one. So I selected configure server instance as side by side installation. Okay. Next, when you click on next, second step, it is asking type and networking. First step is installation. Second step is type and networking. In that you can see it is asking for uh, protocols, port numbers and everything. These protocols, port numbers, development computer, server computer, dedicated computer, these are different options available. So it is for development. So it is for server, it is for dedicated or manual. You need to choose any of this, any of this. So I actually don't need this. So why? Because already I have them. Let me remove the old. It will be better. I will remove the old version first. Okay. Because this installer we can run anytime. I will remove the old version I'm having. Yeah. So this MySQL installer. The old version I will remove this. Because first time when you are installing, those all will not ask. It will have a different option. Okay. This is how you will see for the first time. Previously it was asking different screen because already I have. When you open this first time, you will see like this. So that means welcome to MySQL configuration. In that next step, so in the next step, it is asking the data directory. Data directory is by default program files and all. Don't change that. And next step, it is asking the server port numbers and all. You don't worry about this. You don't need to change whatever suitable port number it will select. You don't need to do anything. Then click on next. Here it is asking the password. This is important because this password is used for logging into your database every day. Not only that, this password is required to connect with your database from any application. Later Java, .NET, PHP, Node, Express.js, any backend technology have to connect with the database. You have to connect with the database. Password is important. So remember this password. I will use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same password I am using. It doesn't matter. So because it is weak for security reasons, no problem. You just don't change any service or anything here. This is just keep as it is. And here no need to change anything here. So you have to grant full access. That is only the thing I have to do. So next step, do you want any sample databases by default? If you want, you can choose. I don't want any sample data. Sample database is nothing but some databases it will add. Those databases are helpful for a learner to practice different queries. We will not do that. We will create our own database and we can practice in the database. If you want to take a look of database, how it looks like, what it contains, then you can choose any sample database. Suppose there are two databases, sample databases are there. You can choose any database. Some world database is there, some other database is there. You can choose any. That is nothing but generally it will create one database for you and it will maintain the database for you so that you can just uh, practice your queries easily. That means a person who want to learn about database, to practice all the queries, he need database suitable for all queries. These people will create one database for you which is suitable for all queries. You can add that. After that, now you need to just execute. Click on execute and it is going to set up everything for you. So it is setting up everything for you. Because we selected sample databases, connecting with them, downloading those sample databases sometimes may take some time from the server to get them. So we'll go back and remove this then, because it is taking time here to download those databases from their server. So I am not doing that. I will just remove that. That means I will not adding any sample database. It is taking time and disconnecting because sometimes their server may be slow or their server is not responding with those sample database. Better ignore, right? Sample database. Okay, execute. The local databases will be fine actually. Here also again problem is there. It is taking more time. Yeah. We'll do one thing. Online people, please be connected. I will restart my device because I uninstalled the old version. It is having some conflict with that. I will restart my machine. Please be connected. I will reconnect once. Okay. Uh, I removed my complete previous setup, whatever I am having, and I am restarting this. We'll do one more thing also. What we'll do, because sometimes this typical will not connect to the samples and all. You select the custom one. There we can choose only what we want. We will use that. So here change from typical to custom means if you're not facing any issue in connecting and downloading samples, it's okay. You can go with typical is enough, but custom means you can choose only what you want. That I will tell you what to choose, that will be enough, right? We'll do that. Custom I will select, and here in the next step, it install, I'm installing this one. So I choose custom here instead of typical because typical is unable to connect. So open the configuration. In the configuration, so it will open the configuration settings in this way. All the concept is same. First step, you have to click on next, and password 1234. 1234 is the password we defined, and click on next. And here it is asking as you want a existing user or new user. This is for account creation. So that means how you want to create your account. So Windows as what? That means it is asking standard system account or custom. You can give a username and a password so that you can connect with that username and password. Standard system is nothing but by default only one user will come. That user you can use, and usually that username will be root. In that user you can maintain all the data. If you want, you can create a separate user, and in that you can maintain the data. Better we will just use the standard system account. Okay, next. So next step, grant full access, that is okay. Next step, sample databases as they given. I will not use any sample database. Next step. So we will execute. Again, problem is because here the server issue will be there sometimes. Uh, it is taking some time to set up the, because if database is initialized, some default databases will come. Those default databases are for administration and all this, not sample database. So because we need to start the server also, because without completing this, we cannot go to the next stage. So without completing this, we cannot set up the installation. Let me check the issue. There is no chance that you can ignore that. So you have to successfully complete that to install it. Any corrupted file is there, it will check. I will remove this workbench also. Okay, I have some issue in this because even I deleted my old version, some old files may be still in running services. Oh, so not happening. So I'll do one thing. I will completely remove every service it is installed here. Then I will set up new service there, because it is just because of my previous installation not uninstalled successfully. It is saying already in use somewhere. Individually, I will check once. Let's change. Okay, so I will do one thing. I will uninstall every service I am having related to this. Some service is not stopped. Then I will show this in tomorrow's session. Yeah, because I need to uninstall and everything I will remove and I will check that. Okay. Then tomorrow, because in your machines you will not face this problem. Just what you do is in the next step, everything will be configured and it is finished. And next step, it will ask for install, select the products you want to install. 3 products you have to select. One is server, another one is workbench, another one shell. Shell is for command line. Those 3, if you select, it will complete, right? You will not face this problem. If there is a problem in that, I will tell you how do we resolve. Right? Tomorrow we will do that. Tomorrow we'll continue then, huh? Right?